I think it's a good continuation from CJ work. So I will just start. So yes, as my name is Kiko Llaneras, and I have a background in engineering. I spent 10 years. I'm an ex-academic. I spent 10 years in academia. I get my Ph.D. But around 2015, I changed my career. I started. Well, I was working as a blogger, but I started to spend more time doing this blogging thing. And in 2016, I moved into journalism full time, and I have been at El País for 8 years now. At El País, I'm leading the visual and data team, and we use a lot of tools, but probably the main two tools that we are using every day are Datawrapper and R. R is the programming language we use for all the analysis, and so I'm going to talk about how we combine these two tools, how we use R and Datawrapper to produce to do different things. I'm going to talk about two particular tricks. The first one is how we use this combination to create quick charts. So basically, we work with R for all the data stuff. So we typically have some data. Here you have some data about the World Cup last year. And we are in R doing the analysis, doing the scrubbing, doing the combination of different data sets, computing our analytics, and all the work around data. We do that in R. And the thing is that we can then create a chart with Datawrapper using the API and using a one-liner, in fact, using this one-liner data to chart, and with identification from a chart in Datawrapper, we can send the data from R into the chart and create one of these charts that you all know, or we can create with Datawrapper. So this is the first setup. This is a very simple way of working, but this is very, very useful for us because we can create the chart directly from where the data is. And why we like this, or why I like this approach a lot? Two reasons. The first one is that it's a way of having very good charts. You know that Datawrapper charts are very good. They are very clean. You have a lot of options. They are responsive, so they work very, very well in your mobile phone, etc. So all the benefits of the Datawrapper charts we have that. But I also like the workflow, how the process works, because it's a very quick way of having a chart that we can publish. So from the go to the chart that we published is you only need one click. So it's very very quick and very convenient. Very convenient in two ways. It's very simple to reuse the chart, and in particular, I like that it's very easy to edit the chart once it has been published. So if we use Adobe Illustrator or JavaScript for making a chart, if there is a typo, if we have to change anything in the chart, we have to talk with someone who has the files. We have to edit the files. We have to update them. We have to upload them. So the process is somehow you need some time for doing that. But if the chart is a Datawrapper chart, and many people in the team can go to the chart and edit it. For instance, we have a translation team that sometimes translates a story from a País in English to our international edition. And they can, of course, translate the story, and I don't have to talk with them. But they can also translate the Datawrapper charts because they know how to duplicate the chart. Then they know how to edit all the text, and they can translate the whole story, and I don't have to build the loop. So this is the benefits of the process I was talking about. So how will this can be done? No? the most important part is the Datawrapper API, but also this package from R, which is Datawrapper with no E, that basically allows you to do everything that you can do with a Datawrapper chart from R. So this is at the core of all of the work I'm going to explain in the following. So this was the first case used, how to do very quick charts from R. The second one is how to create some custom charts with R and Datawrapper. So the approach is very similar of what CJ just told you, but we are doing this from R. So I can start with an example. This is the example. This is a particular custom chart. It's not a template chart from Datawrapper because you have the columns, but there is some median lines. You have 2 boxes for each column. And you can see the things that are not standard. This chart is basically a box plot, but it's a particular kind of box plot that I like more than a box plot. It's simpler than a box plot. If you haven't seen a box plot any time in your life, you can understand this chart. And this is a chart that is done in Datawrapper, but it's not a standard. No? So how we did it? Yeah, you have the pop-up, as you can see. You have all the niceties of Datawrapper, but how we did it? This is a scatter plot. Scatter plot is the template in Datawrapper that allows you to hack it. It is the best one for hacking. So this is a scatter plot, but basically, if you show the scatter plot, there is nothing to be seen here. The only thing that is data as standard, the Datawrapper chart, are the pop-up. In fact, the pop-up are invisible dots, bigger dots, that allow us to have a pop-up. But all the columns in the chart, we added this as custom lines. This experimental feature that I hope you never remove from the app because we use it a lot. This experimental custom lines and custom areas. This is how all the columns and all the lines that you can see here. This is how we add it. We add all the elements, of the principal elements of the chart. We added them as custom lines, and then we use annotations for all the text and even also the labels in the columns. PP, PSOE, box, sumar, all these. The name of the parties are also annotations. So this is the chart. The chart is a scattered plot with all these strange elements. But the thing is, we didn't do this manually. We do all of this by coding in R. So this is the codes for the chart. These are like, I don't know, 200 lines of code or less. So we have some preparation for the data. We have an ID for the chart. Then we have some codes for adding the columns, some code for the pop-up, and some code for the labels. But this is not a lot of code, but somehow it is. And I wrote this code a long time ago, and I'm not exactly sure how every element works. Because I wrote it, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, and I haven't used it a lot by copy and pasting. So this is one of the nice features of this approach. I'm not writing 200 lines of code every time. So this works as a template. In fact, I have been using these charts a lot recently. I don't know. I used a version of this chart in a couple of weeks ago. We have regional elections in Galicia. I used it last year in Spain, in UK, in Andalusia, in Italy, and in France the year before. So this is one of the benefits of this approach. We are somehow building our own templates, and it's not course, it's not completely automatic when I want to use the chart again, but basically you have to copy the chart, copy the code, and edit here and then to just having this working. And yeah, we are using this a lot with different variants. And why we like it, you have the same benefits I was talking about as a few minutes ago. These are good charts. The process is very good, but now we have custom charts within. That's very convenient for us because we are always working with R. And of course, these are somehow templates, and I love it. And we use this a lot. For instance, these histograms have been done with exactly the same approach. These are scatter plots with all the columns, very small columns in this case. You have the dots and all the stuff, but this is exactly the same approach. This is again the same. It seems to be different rows. This is not different rows. We are adding the lines for each of the histograms. We have done some combination of stacked areas with dots. This is in Spanish, but I can talk about this after. And also some Borsandrino, which is a colleague at El País, has done the same approach to build these charts, these radar maps that are again scatter plots that we publish from R. These are very nice and particularly tricky because you have to keep the proportion when you are working in a mobile phone, but they work. And also he has worked with beeswarm that are also very useful. So this is our charts. And finally, if you want to learn how to do this, I have some very short advice. First advice is starting by reading the documentation for the Datawrapper API. It's very complete and is the core of this approach. The API is what allows us to do all this. Then you can read or install and read the Datawrapper package. And that basically allows you to communicate with the API within R. It works very well. And somehow a trick, I think it's very useful to start working with this, to use this function, this retrieve chart metadata, that basically it gives you all the metadata that you can change in a chart. So you can select any chart that you are working with, and you can see all the metadata. And this is a very convenient way of inspecting the data and trying to change a parameter and observing how the chart is changing. And it's a way to understand how the process works. And finally, when we are working on one of these charts, the process is a two-step process. First, try an error. So we work in a chart after looking for the results we want. And then I think it's interesting to add a second step, that is, now that the chart is working, spend some time in the code for factories, how to prepare the code to be a template. So you can make relative the margins, for instance. You can clean the code. You can document the code, and it's very useful to spend some time here. And that basically it's all. So we just love Datawrapper, and we also love R, and it's very nice to combine both, and it has been very useful for us. So I'm glad to ask any questions you have. Thanks for the attention.
Wow, Kiko, very impressive. I would have never thought that this is possible. This is possible. Wow, it's a lot of work you put into creating these templates. Really, thank you a lot for sharing this. By the way, how do you work with these templates internally? Like you have a repository for them? Like how big is the team working with them? Because I feel like you always need some developer as the first step, right?
Yeah, the thing is, each of these templates has an owner. Typically, it's an owner who is the person who first developed it. And then we typically use these people to fine tuning it. So all the electoral charts, I do a lot of work in election. So this I make charts in some sense, and I can prepare them for other people. But basically, this is somehow something that I typically do. And for instance, all these radar maps or all the sport charts, Borja Anderino is the gatekeeper here. So if I want to use the chart, I typically say, "Oh, Borja, can you prepare this for me?" And this is how we need, because we are somehow a small, not that a small team, but we are like 13 people, but we have different specialties. Not all of us are working with R. So this is typically how we do. These templates are not so completely automatic. So this is not something that we do for everyday charts. It's somehow in between something that we do for the day and as development that we use JavaScript. So we are not going to spend a week working with JavaScript, but we have this team. So it's somehow in between.
There's a question from the chat from Amy Scott German that is related to this. She would love to hear more about how you build out the script templates and how long the tweaking of these code takes for each new iteration from the template.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the first development. I think not that much time. It seems more difficult than it is, because so when I did the first one, I didn't expect to do 10 of them, but I discovered that it was quite efficient. So I was surprised that I started working on the first template, and I don't know, in a few hours I have the result. So it was not that a lot of work, because basically you only have to, you are putting rectangles and lines, you have coordinates, but if you are familiar with R code, if you are coding in R every day, this is very, very easy, because the API is quite flexible. And then the tweaking part, this is not a lot of work neither. So, and these charts are always done in projects that are quite data rich. So when I work in elections, I'm typically publishing a poll of polls or a prediction model. So I'm in R spending a few days fine tuning the model, making the predictions, gathering the polls, and I have this setup, and this setup is a template by itself. And the part of the plotting, the plotting chart is just part of the project. So I have to fine tune the colors and the names of the parties. I have to adjust some margins, because maybe the parties are not between 0 and 20 seats. They have 100 seats because the election is a different one, and I have to change some small detail. But this is a thing of, I don't know, maybe half an hour of tweaking per chart. No, not more than that.
There was a follow-up question by Amy that I think a lot of people have, including myself, is do you have by any chance a public Git repo for these scripts, for these templates, for learning more about the custom lines? Or
we haven't done it. We are not that secretive about this. I put it in the slide. So, but what happens typically with the repos is that you never find the time to document your code and to share your code. And there are things, for it, that I'm not publishing or prediction models. I'm very often asked about, and I'm not publishing that because it's a lot of work and it's very easy to replicate. And I think I cannot share the model. I'm very transparent with the methodology, but I cannot share I'm not feel comfortable sharing the code of the prediction model. But with the charts, I'm not that that secretary, because I think it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult as it seems. So if someone is familiar with R and spent a couple of days working with these ideas, they can build these templates and many others. I think there is a lot of different charts that can be done in a similar way. And another direction for this is, I think one of the people that I speak before me talk about this. You can do something similar with maps by tuning the shape files. You can then ask a custom shape file that is not a map anymore, but then there are dots and different forms and whatever into Datawrapper. So I'm glad of sharing some of these or asking any questions if someone is interested. I'm glad of doing it.
Yeah. There's one more thing that I'm interested about is like there's a lot of code that you spend into positioning all the rectangles and putting that into the Datawrapper API. Where's the line where it makes more sense to actually just make the graphic using like JavaScript or D3 or using a front-end framework rather than using R for this? Or what are the benefits of still doing it in this R to Datawrapper workflow?
I was thinking about this when preparing the presentation. On the one hand, I think it depends on the people. So we in the team we have people that is are masters, that the people that work with R every day. Meaning, this is my case, but I'm not the only one. So for me, it's very more efficient to do the chart in R because I'm not that good in JavaScript. So JavaScript implies involving another person. So this is already a barrier for me. But if I can work with the Datawrapper and R, I can't make things that are somehow difficult. So in some sense, this depends on the people. Other people in my team who are very familiar with JavaScript, they probably don't use this solution because maybe they are not able to write the R code. So it depends on your toolbox. But in general, the second factor I think to think here is I like that when I publish a Datawrapper chart, this is already published in the sense that, for instance, if someone is reading my piece and there is a typo in the chart, anyone can go to the chart in the Datawrapper, find it, correct it, and the story is already correct. And that is quite powerful because otherwise you have to find the people who own the files, of who can find the files. And then you have to make versions in Adobe Illustrator or maybe it depends on the solution, but there is not, it's not so simple to find a reliable solution. So this is somehow in between.
Okay. Last question. Someone, Yuriko, is asking if you think if there's a benefit of using R rather than Python. There is a Python library for R, for Datawrapper as well.
I don't think so. I think that the magic of the thing is happening in the API. So if you are familiar with Python is the way to go for you. I think the same process can be done for sure. This depends on, and probably some people with JavaScript can also use the API from JavaScript. So Python for sure, and maybe using observable or another solution can also be workable.
Thank you so much, Kiko, again for sharing your scripts and your workflows.